Listen closely to the sound of this breath. Most people hear it and smile, calling it an adorable, quirky trait of their beloved pet. But you are not listening to a cute biological quirk. You are listening to a living creature actively fighting for every single breath. For thousands of years, the ancestors of our pets were majestic, perfectly engineered apex predators. Wolves roamed the freezing tundras, and agile wildcats dominated the ancient forests. Their bodies were masterpieces of natural selection, built for survival, speed, and immense endurance. But then, humanity intervened. We didn't just domesticate them, we decided to play God with their DNA. We began breeding them not for health, not for strength, but for our own twisted visual amusement. We demanded flatter faces, shorter legs, and folded ears because they looked cute on a living room rug. Today, we are going to expose the dark, manufactured reality behind the world's most popular pets. These are 5 breeds that humanity genetically ruined simply for the sake of aesthetics. Welcome to the invisible, agonizing biological prisons we built out of love. We begin with the absolute poster children of genetic manipulation, the pug and the English bulldog. Look at a skull of a wolf and then place it next to the skull of a modern pug. The contrast is not just shocking, it is a profound biological tragedy. Over centuries, breeders selectively crushed the snouts of these dogs inward to create a human-like, flat face. This is a condition known as brachycephaly. But while we flattened the bone structure, we did not shrink the soft tissue inside their heads. Their palates, tongues, and airways are violently crammed into a skull that is fundamentally too small. This means every single breath a pug takes is a monumental, exhausting struggle. That adorable snoring sound they make while sleeping, it is actually the sound of their airway collapsing, forcing them to briefly suffocate. They cannot pant effectively to cool down, making a simple walk on a warm day potentially fatal. The English bulldog suffers an equally grim fate. Their heads are now bred to be so massively disproportionate that natural birth is virtually impossible. Over 80% of bulldog puppies must be delivered surgically via C-section because the mother's pelvis cannot accommodate their unnatural skulls. We have engineered a creature that literally cannot reproduce without major human medical intervention. We traded their ancient ability to run like the wind for a lifetime of gasping for air. Moving away from the crushed skulls, we turn our attention to the engineered destruction of the spine. The Dachshund, affectionately known as the wiener dog, is loved worldwide for its comical, elongated shape. Originally, this shape had a dark but practical purpose. They were bred to hunt badgers deep inside narrow underground burrows, but modern dog shows and human vanity pushed this trait to an agonizing, unnatural extreme. Breeders selected for longer and longer backs, while simultaneously demanding shorter, stumpier legs. We stretched the architectural limit of their skeletal structure to the breaking point. Today, the modern Dachshund is a walking orthopedic nightmare waiting to happen. Up to 25% of these dogs will develop severe intervertebral disc disease during their lifetime. Their abnormally long spines simply cannot support their own body weight without severe structural stress. A simple act of jumping off a couch can cause a spinal disc to rupture violently into their nerve canal. The result is excruciating, paralyzing pain that often requires massive, expensive emergency spinal surgery. In many tragic cases, the paralysis is completely permanent. We took a functional hunting dog and stretched it into a fragile, broken novelty item, forcing them to carry the heavy burden of our aesthetic desires on their failing backs. The cruelty of genetic engineering is not limited to man's best friend. The feline world hides its own dark, manufactured secrets, starting with the deeply tragic Scottish Fold. Made incredibly popular by celebrities and social media influencers, these cats are famous for their unique, owl-like folded ears. They look permanently curious and undeniably adorable, but that cute little fold is not a harmless cosmetic trait. It is the direct result of a devastating genetic mutation called osteochondrodysplasia. This dominant gene does not just affect the cartilage in their ears, it aggressively attacks the cartilage throughout their entire body. From the moment they are born, their bones and joints are actively developing incorrectly. As they age, this inevitably leads to severe, crippling arthritis and agonizing joint deformities. Their tails become stiff and incredibly painful to touch. Their paws grow abnormally, making it agonizingly difficult for them to walk, jump, or play like a normal cat. To achieve that cute, unique ear shape, breeders intentionally condemn these animals to a lifetime of chronic, incurable pain. Several countries have actually banned the breeding of Scottish folds, recognizing it as undeniable animal cruelty. Yet, the demand remains sky-high because a folded ear looks great in a viral photograph. Our final entry is perhaps the most blatant example of modern genetic vanity, the Munchkin cat. Often called the corgis of the cat world, they are bred specifically to have extremely short, stubby legs. A cat is nature's ultimate agile predator, built for breathtaking leaps, silent stalking, and perfect balance. The Munchkin breed violently strips all of that majestic capability away. Their short legs are the result of a genetic mutation causing dwarfism, technically known as achondroplasia. While breeders claim they live normal lives, the reality is far more restrictive and cruel. Because their limbs are artificially shortened, they cannot jump onto high surfaces or run with the explosive grace of a normal feline. Their biological instincts scream at them to climb and hunt, but their manufactured bodies refuse to comply. Furthermore, this extreme physical modification puts them at a terrifyingly high risk for severe spinal deformities such as lordosis, where the spine dips downward and physically crushes the heart and lungs. They are essentially living toys, modified and handicapped purely to satisfy our bizarre obsession with eternal infancy. When we look at these 5 breeds, we must confront a deeply uncomfortable truth about human nature. The love we claim to have for our pets is frequently tainted by an overwhelming, selfish desire for ownership and control. We do not just want companions, we want living accessories customized to our exact visual preferences. We have taken majestic, biologically perfect animals and molded them into deformed caricatures of their former selves. We willingly finance a global industry that profits off genetic defects and normalized physical suffering. The next time you see a dog struggling to breathe or a cat hobbling on deformed legs, do not call it cute. Recognize it for what it truly is, a permanent, living monument to human vanity. True love for animals means prioritizing their health, their natural capabilities, and their freedom from pain over our own aesthetic desires. Until we stop demanding these broken shapes, the silent, agonizing suffering behind closed doors will never end. The deepest cruelty is not always a cage or a whip. Sometimes, it is the DNA we force them to inherit.